All right, we're back here in game number 3 between DuSk and AGIANTSMURF at local battles in Fort Lee, New Jersey. I'm Eric the Red, joined here by Windy, and we're having game 3 here on Metropolis. So it is tied up 1-1. On the bottom of the map, we have DuSk, the red Zerg player.
He's kind of pink. Does he look kind of pink to you?
A little pinkish, a little lightish red.
It's not like a StarCraft pink, but it doesn't look red either.
That's like a lightish red.
It's a lightish red, but this is very red up here, so I'm kind of surprised. It's kind of interesting. Smurfs go ahead and can be spawning up in the 12 o'clock position on this map. Metropolis, kind of the evolution of Metalopolis.
Yeah.
Similar name and as well as structure, close by air. Much further in air on this particular map.
And this version of the map not having those floatable islands on the top left and bottom right.
What's your thoughts on those? I mean, do you like them? Do you not like them? Is it irrelevant?
Now you're asking a Protoss player, and so I think the answer from all of us Protoss are going to be that those are just terribly imbalanced, and any Zerg just going from some sort of Nidus Mutiling is just going to be able to take 2 extra bases.
I've never ever taken an island map on. Anytime I've ever played Metropolis, anytime I've ever
it's like a free. If you just get a nice worm.
Terran, yes, because you always have a detection available.
Yeah.
I mean, for Zerg, you get Sax or you get Nidus Swarm, which is a 200 gas investment.
Yeah, but I mean, you're going Muta anyway to cover for it, and you're keeping the Protoss pinned to 2 to 3 bases. So I think it's still really good. But
I should try that. Next time I play a game of Metropolis, I'm going to try to take that.
Make sure it's the right version of the map, though.
Yeah, no, of course.
If you do it here, you'll be a little sad.
Yeah, DuSk going for a 15 pool, nothing too crazy there. Of course, Smurf going to go ahead and set up himself for the Forge expand. Going for that Forge first, though.
And Drone Scout in this game, too.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done that in the last couple games. Well, last time he did 6 pool, remember?
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. But I like the Smurf fact that Smurf won for that Forge. Wants to play it safe this time around. DuSk kind of said, I'm willing to cheese.
Yeah.
So
look at this. He's going to actually do a little bit of proxying, I think. He had that hatchery queued up there. Look, yeah, he is going to do that. So he's going to actually be able to delay any sort of quick nexus.
Is he a spine caller? I've seen some players cancel and get a spine caller. If he has a queen on the way over.
Oh, yeah, you could do that. That would actually be pretty decent. But there are 2 cannons going up, so I don't think he's there's no wall anymore for additional links to come by.
Do you think this has been an over response though? I mean, this hatch, I don't see it completing.
Yeah, and he could cancel at the last minute, and then there would be. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's gonna let this. Well, no, he's not gonna let this.
He's gonna let one cannon finish. He'll cancel the gateway, get his Forge up.
Okay, so he delayed it a little bit.
Yeah. He got the cannon up. Smurf played it smart there. He did the best he possibly could. I mean, he prepared for the possible proxy to be coming out of there.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, DuSk never got his expansion down. Actually, I feel like that might have not been.
There's a pylon block there.
He was trying to counter that pylon block, but again, if you're going to do that, then I think blocking with an Evo chamber or something like that might have been a little bit
more effective.
Yeah, it could have been more effective.
I mean, I've seen some players take the proxy hatch a little bit more out, like right in that location.
Or in the main base.
Well, yeah, or in the main base. But I've seen Quantic Hawk is one player that comes to mind because he does it quite often. I'm like, this is amazing. He actually did it in one of our tournaments. He proxy hatch there, canceled, built a spine crawler, and bought a queen and 12 lanes with them. And a couple drones and built spine crawlers. And push.
Outranged. You could just kill the Forge and get
outrange the cannon. If you don't know, Ken's 6 range. Or no, actually, the Kens are 7 range.
7 range versus 8 range?
No, 7 range. Bunkers are only 6 range.
Okay,
right. So that's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, you can hit the pylons, you can hit the gateway, the core, the Forge. You can poke at a lot of things.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like the cannons can move, so.
Yeah, spine crawlers, they can move, which is always nice. DuSk very, very heavily droned, though, so he is keeping on his drone count. It's 22 to 25, so Smurf taking advantage still, and I think that's going to carry well in the mid game. The question is, does he try to take a third? This map, okay for Protoss to take a third. You just
and once you've taken the third, you actually can just hurtle up and even take the 4th.
Yeah,
it's very easy to sit tight on 4 bases here with a nice Sim City.
Yeah, but with that destructible debris, of course, you have to be worried about Zerg destroying that. But I mean, you're always going to be able to respond. It takes Zerg. I feel like just does not kill destructible debris as effectively as other races.
Now, AGIANTSMURF actually getting that Stargate now immediately after the core.
I haven't seen Stargate at a Protoss in a while.
Now, on this map, I actually kind of like it. There are some very technical builds that exist for this map specifically, including Void Ray, 2 base all-ins, maybe even getting a Warp Prism. And if you can see that ramp there, it's very easy to drop a sentry off with a Warp Prism and just force field that ramp down, leaving your Void Rays and warped in Zealots or whatever to deal a lot of damage. So, I mean, I've seen MC do a lot of those kinds of very technical builds, but even just a Stargate on its own is always going to be good. Getting a Void Ray, or maybe just going right to Phoenix. Usually, they're getting at least one Void Ray first. Yeah,
you retain a lot of map control, too. I mean, very, very easy to pick off Overlords. See now DuSk going to go in here for a scout with this Overlord. Wants to see if that gas has been taking in the natural. And 3 gas is down, not 4, so he could assume Stargate. 3 gates usually alludes a lot to Stargate, but 4th gas will go down as well. Right. It is only going to be 1 Stargate, though, so...
Yeah, only one.
If I had to assume he wants map control, so I'm going to assume a very quick third out of Smurf here.
That would be a really good move, I think. There are cross bonds, so it's, he's going to be able to put some pressure on with that Void Ray, maybe followed up with, 4 or 5 Phoenix, and I'd say taking the expansion behind that would be pretty good. Can you use the Phoenix to, mitigate the Roach count? And DuSk actually just going for, looks like, pretty standard lair timing.
If he hasn't already, we'll now see that Void Ray charging up on that Overlord. Will ward him away. There's not many Stargates coming out of that. That's always the problem. Like, okay, cool, he's going Stargate. How many, though, is I feel like the bigger question here.
I think at this point, you kind of just have to assume one unless you see lots of Phoenix coming out.
Well, he can always not show it, which is a big thing. Protosses like to be very sneaky. Players in general like to be very sneaky.
But with the Overlord speed upgrade, it's not as prevalent for those sorts of things that happen.
This is true. Now you can see DuSk wants to get to work on those destructible debris. Take quite some time to knock down with just queens, but they will go down eventually. Probably the most standard game out of DuSk, sans that opening, getting that Roach Warren lair at an average time, plus 1 on the way.
Now, like I was saying earlier, there are a lot of 2-base timings involving War Prisms and Void Rays, and indeed, a Giant Smurf throwing on 5 more gates, adding a War Prism, and only sticking with, I think, 2 Void Rays on the map? 1 or 2 Void Rays?
2 Void Rays, and they are floating around
So
here.
this is actually going to be, I think, the execution of that build I was talking about earlier.
It's a good plan.
If you can drop a sentry by that ramp, you just force field it off, and you have the whole main for free.
Yeah, I think that's actually an excellent choice out of Smurf here. I mean, you got to look at the opening. He did that hatch, which was canceled. It didn't even do anything. Yeah, he forced a response to the cans, but 1 or 2 of which were canceled. So
right.
There are a good number of queens, actually 4 queens. 4 queens is like the magic number for dealing with Void Rays, I feel like. It eliminates them so quickly. They have a huge anti-air attack.
They'll have transfuses available almost always. Now, the question is, will DuSk smell this thing coming, this all-in, with that War Prism, already 4 sentries inside of it. So, indeed, he's going to be trying to do some force fielding action on that ramp. Another Void Ray queued up as well. And I think a Giant Smurf actually just going to be applying as much pressure as possible, getting a Colossus tech behind this. Maybe for that War Prism speed, but I think more likely just to transition to Kahlo if he can force Hydralisks. It may just chill on 2 bases for a little longer. And here comes the drop.
Sentries will go down. Any force field in there. He's going to wait for it, being very, very patient about it. I like that.
I think he's going to get it almost certainly.
Yeah, there it goes. And now Macro Hatch going to go down. There's tons of energy. He can force field indefinitely. 4 sentries, that magic number, but has plenty of energy to spare. Macro Hatch will fall immediately. Of course, he was able to pop off about, looks like 4 roaches.
And what can DuSk even do in this position? He's trying to go for a counterattack with a bunch of roaches. He may be able to do some damage, but I don't know. That wall is just so tight. What is? I mean, there's not even a third that's attempted to be going down here. I don't know. This is so bad for DuSk. He's going to lose his lair. He's going to lose. All these drones are trapped.
Yeah, and there's a Void Ray here, man. Void Rays are great with dealing roaches.
I mean, they all came back, actually. Yeah. So these roaches are going to be dead almost instantly. This is certainly going to be...
Even pulling probes is going to force probes to be pulled off, but I think that's just to prevent them from going any further. Roaches going to just stop there. More coming from the front, though. They will be able to...
It doesn't even matter. Those probes, he could lose almost all those probes and he'd still be ahead. The lair is going to go down. He lost all the drones in the main. There was no burrow. I mean, that's the thing. There's no observer, I think, with this push, was there? So maybe Burrow could have saved him. But
yeah, so all the roaches have gone down. Smurf a little bit supply block. Did lose a few drones probes in there, but he's up 56 to 37, so he's got a huge worker advantage. Has a Colossi on the way.
Right. Now the question is, can he get out of here? I think he, at worst case scenario, just get elevators down, but I don't think he wants to go down there into that choke point.
Yeah, the roaches still have vision because of that creep tumor. I think that's actually really important to note. So
yeah, he didn't bring an observer with him. So again, I mean, I think Burrow would have been helpful, but how would DuSk know about that?
Yeah, but transfusion's going so well for
DuSk. But look, more force field behind the queens and roaches, and I think all these units are going to die. And even if a Giant Smurf loses his whole army here, it's already been more than worth it.
Yeah, and it's really hard to recover from Zerga's position. I mean, you've had your lair taken out, your tech is gone, and DuSk is going to GG. Giant Smurf will advance. DuSk down to the loser's bracket, and that'll be your second match of the day. So we will have a third one coming up.
Such a cool build, though, by Giant Smurf.
I think it was very nice how he stayed very stable with it after that after being 6-pooled, after having that huge Ling run by with about 40 Lings, which are both unorthodox. Considering the matchup, and then of course he had that hatch go down right next to his forge in the beginning of the game. You gotta have to be concerned as how's that affect him mentally, but he stayed true and strong.